Hello and welcome to Identity Leathercraft. We're going to look today at doing some foiling on leather. I've got some examples here. Try and turn it so you can see. These are some different techniques I've used where this leather has been scored and partially dyed and over dyed. And here's a kind of random technique. It just adds a bit of gilt and sparkle. I'm just using a craft foil which you can get from most craft websites. I'm going to angle the camera down so that you can see it close up. So for the first technique I'm going to do a similar technique to this one, which is the random spatter one, and then I'll do a second technique which will show more of a sharp straight edge. So I've done a little spatter paint. I'm going to move my dish. So this is a technique I use when I'm got some wallets I'm making, and this is going to cut out for the pockets. So I've used the Raven Black water-based leather stain and the Cova colour in the turquoise, and all of these items are available from the website, but I just thought it would be nice to put a little bit of gold on it. There's a piece I did earlier, but I'm going to try and get that sort of similar look for my pockets. So the way that I do that is I get a normal piece of kitchen sponge, which I normally cut up into little bits to make it go further. This is Phoebing's Leathercraft cement, which is a PVA based glue. You can, if you've got PVA glue at home, if you check on the back and make sure it's suitable for leather, you could use that, or the Phoebing's Leathercraft cement is on the website, and it's a very handy glue to have in. So I'm just going to put my sponge into the glue and just get a little on the sponge, and then I'm going to randomly put some onto the leather just by pressing in certain areas. And you don't need to be too precious about this because you want a kind of random effect, and where the foil decides to take it, it's kind of fun to see what kind of transpires. Pop that down out the way and keep a tissue to hand to wipe your fingers if you need to. And then I've got a little piece of foil here, cut to size. It's quite tricky to cut, so it's easier to cut flat and cut with a precision craft knife than scissors. So I'm going to place that over and just smooth that down. So it's going down onto the wet glue, and I'm just going to press it down, make sure it's taking where I want it to take. Okay, and for this method I'm going to use my hairdryer, so anything that's a little bit flighty I'm just going to move out of the way or weight down. If you've got a hot air gun, this works really well at this point as well, because they tend to have a bit less blow. So I'm just going to put my hand here so hopefully you can still see. What I want is to not get the leather too hot, but get it hot enough for the foil just to pucker. It's about 30 seconds. You want to keep it fairly close and move it over all the foil areas slowly, and the heat will build up. As it gets warmer, you'll see the foil will start to sort of pucker around as it melts. And that's it beginning to go now. And now for the moment of excitement. So you find a corner and you just start to peel it away. And you always get a slightly different effect every time, but there we go. Hope you can see that. You will end up with a sort of random effect from the foil here, and I tend to reuse these, particularly when I'm doing these random ones, because you can get a lot more of the foil out, and even if it misses bits where you've taken the foil away, you're going for that random effect, so it's still useful. So I try and get as much mileage out of my foil papers as I can. So let's put that one to one side and we'll look at how to do some straight lines. Here is a piece I prepared earlier. So again, this is the white leather because it shows up on the camera really well. And we're going to go for putting some geometrics in, which will just show you how to do how the straight lines can be got. So for this method, you can either use a paintbrush or a cotton bud. You want to be able to get the glue to go right to the edges, so I've just got a piece of greaseproof paper underneath so that I don't get glue all over my cutting mat and I can go right to the edges. It's a little bit fiddly because it's a bit flyaway, this foil. So once you've done it, I tend to pick it up and we'll lay that down. With this method, kind of what you're aiming for is for it to go down as it's going to sort of stay. So we're going to try and aim to get as much of the foil off the film as we can. Let's do another piece. You want to get the glue right up to your edges, particularly where you've got any pointed detail. I'm using this cotton bud rather than the paintbrush just so that I don't get so many brush lines when the foil goes under the heat. I'm going to move that away because I've got some glue on it. I'm going to move and get a piece of newspaper folded over so that I've got some insulation, because I'm going to now go and use my iron for this next stage. So I've got my iron turned up. It's just below the cotton setting. So I'm going to put a piece of clean greaseproof paper over the top. And I'm going to iron it in place. So you want to keep a kind of firm, even pressure, no steam, so up to the setting for no steam. And you want to do about 10 or 15 seconds. Quite firm, pressing down, which is why it's better not to use an ironing board. Oh, I'm pressing on some squirts there. So I'm going to remove that now. Now this next bit's slightly tricky, but there is a clear film on the top here. So it's just a case of trying to get to that film and lift it up without taking the foil. So I hope you can see there's a little piece of it there. It's probably hard to see. Now some of this has come up a little bit. There we go. And there you have some more straight lines. So again, for lettering, this one was using the brush. Now you can see there's a lot more texture to it, so where the brush strokes were. So I think that has worked a little bit better if you want that sort of smoother look, using the cotton bud. It's a bit of an experiment, like lots of these things, so I'd love to see what you come up with and what you make with how you decorate your leather. These materials, the dyes, the glue, the leathers are all available from our website, www.identityleathercraft.com. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll hope to see you again sometime.